This video is going to review circle graphs. You will need a calculator to work out some of the problems on this video, so please make sure you have one. Alright, so the first problem is we want to figure out, well, what percent, so a survey was given, we want to know what percent of these students surveyed have pigs as a pet. So these were people's favorite, or the pets that they had. Okay, so we want to know what percent was left for pigs. So first thing that you need to remember is that all the percents in a circle graph need to add up to 100%. So we need to figure out, well, what percents do they add up so far? So we have 30 plus 15 plus 10. So first thing you should do is add those up. All right, so if you add those, 30 and 10 is 40, plus another 15 is 55%. Okay, now to figure out what part is left for pigs, you're going to do 100%, take away 55%, which gives you 45%. So the percentage for pigs here is 45%. All right, so our next problem, we want to figure out what is the angle. So when I drew my circle graph, what's the angle for cats? All right, so first thing you need to kind of realize is, well, cats takes up 30% of the circle. So I should kind of write that down. It's 30% of the whole circle. Okay, and I know that in a circle, all of the degrees have to add up to 360 degrees. So cats has to be 30% of this 360. So 30% of the 360 degrees. So a quick way to figure this out is you can actually type this in. You can do 30%, you're finding a part of a whole, so you can do 0.30 times 360. So why don't you go ahead and type that in. And when I type that in, I get 108 degrees. Okay, now if that way is confusing to you, you can set up a proportion. So cats are 30%, a percent's always out of 300, or 100, sorry. And then I want to know how many degrees is it out of 360. So if you would rather do it this way and then solve that proportion, you'll get the same answer of 108 degrees. All right, so our next question says that 300 people took this survey. I want to know how many of those 300 chose cats. Okay, well, first thing with cats, you know that 30% of those 300 people chose cats. Okay, so again, you can do it the same way. If you're trying to find a part of a whole, you can multiply. So I'm going to do 0.30 times 360. Or not times 360, sorry. Times 300. Okay, and I'm going to type that in here. So you guys should do that, 0.30 times 300, and I get 90. So 90 people, when they took the survey, said that they had cats. All right, now if that way is confusing too, you can set up a proportion. So you know cats is 30%, percent's always out of 100, and I want to know out of the 300 people, how many had cats. Okay, so again, you could use this proportion to solve that as well. All right, our next problem looks like this. We want to figure out what percent of people, when they ordered pizza that night, ordered sausage pizza. Okay, I want to know what percent ordered sausage. So the first thing you need to do before you can find a percent, now remember, percent is always part over whole. So if you're trying to find a percent, you need to figure out the whole amount first. So I need to figure out, well, how many people ordered pizza this night? So you need to add these up. Okay, so if I add these up, 7 and 3 is 10, plus 6 is 16, and 4 more gives me 20. So 20 people ordered that night. So now I want to know, well, what percent chose sausage? Well, 3 people chose sausage out of 20. Okay, now to change that to a percent, remember, think of that like your test score. So just take 3 divided by 20 and then times 100. So I'm going to type that in. 3 divided by 20, which gives me 0.15. Okay, so as a percent, move it over twice. I get 15% of the people ordered sausage pizza. All right, so our next question, we want to find, if I made a circle graph, what would the angle for the sector representing peppers, what would that measure? All right, so first thing I need to figure out for peppers, I know how many people chose peppers, but I don't know what percent that is. So I remember from the last slide, when I added these up, it was out of 20 people. So let's take a look at peppers. So it's 6 out of 20 people ordered a pizza with peppers. So first thing I need to do is change that to a percent. So you should do 6 divided by 20. And I get 0.3. Okay, and if I change that to a percent, it's 30%. All right, so 30% of the people chose pepper pizza. Okay, now to figure out what the angle is on a circle graph, I know it's 30% of all the degrees, so I'm going to do 30% of the 360. So I can type in 0.30 times 360 to figure out what the angle will be. So 0.30 times 360, and if you type that in, you get 108 degrees. So that is what the angle for peppers would be. All right, and our last question here says, a survey was given asking about favorite candy. On the circle graph, so if I just drew a quick little sketch, the angle measure for Skittles was 60 degrees. So somewhere around here. So 60 degrees. Okay, I want to know, well, what percent of the people chose Skittles then? Okay, now whenever I think about percent, I think about part over whole. Okay, so let's kind of think about this. I have 60 degrees of the whole circle is for Skittles. Well, the whole circle is 360 degrees. So now I just have to think, well, what percent is that? It's my part over the whole. So again, you can just grab your calculator. You can type in 60 divided by 360. It doesn't work out real nice, but that gives you about 0.16 repeating. Okay, so it's about 16.6 repeating percent, or 17%. All right, so that would be my answer. So I just found the part over the whole.